I used to think homeowners associations were about keeping the neighborhood pretty. You know, flowers trimmed, lawns mowed, mailboxes matching. That was before I met Marjorie Steele, the president of the Maplewood Estates HOA. Marjorie wasn't your average neighbor. She was the self-declared guardian of community standards, and she ran the HOA like a suburban CIA. Her clipboard was her badge of authority, and her binoculars, yes, binoculars, were her surveillance equipment. I moved into Maplewood Estates 2 years ago after my divorce. I was ready for peace, quiet, and a fresh start. My little cottage on Birch Lane was perfect. Cozy porch, rose bushes, and a white fence that needed a bit of paint. The first week I moved in, I got a letter in the mail. Welcome to Maplewood Estates. Please note that fence paint must be HOA approved shade Colonial White. Kindly repaint within 14 days. Marjorie Steele, HOA President. I chuckled at the time. 14 days? Sure, fine. But I was about to learn that in Maplewood, rules weren't just suggestions, they were gospel. A few weeks later, I noticed Marjorie's silver SUV parked across from my house at odd hours. Sometimes she'd walk by slowly, pretending to check the curb, but her eyes were always on my yard. Once, I caught her crouched behind my hedge taking photos. That's when I realized Marjorie wasn't just monitoring, she was spying. And I wasn't alone. My neighbor Greg told me she once fined him $50 because his trash can lid was slightly ajar. Another neighbor, Carol, said Marjorie accused her of harboring unsanctioned lawn art. A pink flamingo, of all things. The woman was out of control. The breaking point came one sunny afternoon. I was repainting my front door. Not fence, door. A cheerful robin's egg blue. I'd checked the HOA handbook and didn't see anything forbidding it. I even thought it might brighten the block a little. But the next morning, I found a bright orange violation notice taped to my door like a scarlet letter. Unapproved exterior color change. Immediate correction required. Underlined twice. That did it. I wasn't about to let a middle-aged suburban spy with a clipboard dictate the color of my life. So, I got creative. First, I installed motion-activated sprinklers in my yard, the kind that blast anyone who steps onto the lawn. I set them on high alert mode and waited. 2 days later, I heard the unmistakable shriek of a soaked HOA president. I peeked through the blinds to see Marjorie, drenched and furious, clutching her clipboard like a drowned cat. I admit, it was deeply satisfying, but that was just the beginning. My next move was subtler. I set up a few cheap security cameras, not to watch her, but to let her see herself being watched. I made sure the red blinking lights were visible from the street. Then, I posted a sign on my fence. Smile, you're on candid camera. Marjorie stopped lingering on my sidewalk. Instead, she started sending passive-aggressive community reminders to the whole neighborhood. Please remember, unauthorized surveillance devices are not permitted under HOA guidelines. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The neighborhood began to notice. People whispered, chuckled, and slowly, stories surfaced. Turns out, Marjorie had a watch list. She'd been keeping notes on residents. Everything from grass length inconsistent to possible unregistered pet. It was like living in a suburban version of The Truman Show. So I took things one step further. I hosted a community appreciation barbecue. Open invite, everyone welcome. Including, of course, our beloved Marjorie. I even wrote on the flyer, "Let's celebrate Maplewood Estates and all our watchful guardians." She couldn't resist. She showed up in full HOA regalia. Khakis, polo, clipboard tucked under her arm, ready to inspect, no doubt. But this time, the neighborhood was ready for her. As people mingled, I unveiled a slideshow on a big outdoor screen. A year in Maplewood. It started with photos of our gardens, pets, and sunsets, and then transitioned to a series of zoomed-in, blurry photos of Marjorie herself, peeking over fences, hiding behind trees, crouching in bushes, all caught by my security cameras. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Marjorie froze. Someone whispered, "She's been spying on everyone." I stepped up and said in my calmest voice, "We all appreciate Marjorie's dedication to neighborhood safety, but maybe we can agree there are better ways to keep an eye on things." The applause that followed was the sweetest sound I'd heard in months. The next morning, I got another letter. My stomach clenched when I saw the envelope, but when I opened it, I nearly laughed out loud. Effective immediately, I am resigning as HOA President. Thank you for your cooperation and commitment to community standards. Marjorie Steele. Just like that, the reign of terror was over. In the weeks that followed, Maplewood felt lighter. People started chatting more, hosting porch coffees, even laughing about the whole ordeal. Someone spray painted HOA Free Zone on the old bulletin board, and for once, nobody complained. My robin's egg blue door stayed exactly as it was, and my fence, still not colonial white. One evening, as I watered my roses, I saw Marjorie walking her little terrier down the street. She avoided eye contact, but I noticed something. No clipboard, just a leash and a dog. Maybe she'd finally realized life's too short to measure grass blades and police paint shades. Or maybe she was just taking a break before running for office. Either way, I smiled, waved, and turned on the sprinklers. Just a light mist this time. Looking back, I learned something valuable. HOAs can be useful. They keep things tidy, give neighbors a voice, and protect property values. But when power goes unchecked, even a small patch of suburbia can turn into a mini surveillance state. The trick isn't rebellion, it's creativity. You don't fight control with anger. You fight it with cleverness, humor, and a touch of irony. And if you ever find yourself living under the gaze of a clipboard-wielding neighbor, remember, sprinklers are cheaper than therapy.